How to make comfort food healthier. Comfort food is delicious in part because it provides relief from anything from cold weather to stress. Though comfort foods can make you feel better in the short term, they can contribute detrimentally to your overall health. Common culprits include dishes that feature high amounts of fat, sodium, and/or sugar. Fortunately, there are some helpful tricks that can help you make some classic comfort foods healthier. Method 1: Adjusting classic comfort food recipes. 1. Make homemade mac and cheese. You can reduce the amount of fat and sodium in this classic comfort dish by adjusting a few of its main ingredients. Namely, use 1% milk instead of cream or whole milk, reduce the amount of butter you usually include, and replace some of the cheese with cornstarch. Further, use a sharp cheddar cheese, as this will contain less fat. Opt for whole grain noodles, and make the dish especially flavorful by adding your favorites herbs and spices. Basil and turmeric are especially good seasoning options. For another great alternative to classic mac and cheese, add 2 tablespoons of parmesan cheese to a cup of tomato sauce and mix this with the macaroni noodles. This dish will contain much less fat. 2. Use lean meat options. Chili and stews, for example, are other popular comfort foods. To make this type of meat dish healthier, use more vegetables and beans than meat, and opt for poultry instead of beef. If you're hooked on red meat, select especially lean options, such as bison chuck or grass-fed beef. A great alternative to a classic sloppy Joe recipe calls for ground turkey, a tomato-based sauce made with plenty of veggies, and a whole wheat bread option instead of ground beef on white. Grass-fed beef has the same amount of fat as skinless chicken, and grass-fed meats have omega-3s. 3. Bake a low-cal casserole. Casseroles are another comfort dish that usually include lots of fat. When baking a casserole, use low-calorie ingredients such as fat-free sour cream and low-fat cheese. Harder cheeses, such as sharp, aged cheddar, will generally be lower in fat and can add flavor to many dishes. When you're craving casserole, consider baking vegetables such as potatoes and collard greens instead. A dish like this will provide the warmth and sustenance you're looking for, with much greater nutritional value. 4. Bake chicken instead of frying it. Toss thinly sliced chicken tenderloins in hot sauce and lemon juice and bake them to make healthy hot wings. Dip them in low-cal blue cheese dressing for the complete experience. You can even make faux fried chicken by covering the tenderloins in almond flour mixed with coconut oil. Sauté to seal the coating, and bake until the chicken is fully cooked. 5. Opt for healthy soups. Some soups contain surprisingly high amounts of fat and sodium. If a recipe calls for a creamy soup, go with a low-sodium, reduced-fat option. Alternatively, use 60 to 70% of what the recipe calls for, and substitute low-fat milk for the lost liquid. When craving soup, go for a tomato or broth-based option. Minestrone and vegetable soups are good choices. Always get the low or reduced sodium option, when available. Include a salad or whole grain bread with soup to balance your meal and fill you up with healthy fiber. If you want a meat soup, go for a chicken soup that contains lots of peas, carrots, onions, and/or other vegetables. Soups are easy to make. Make a large pot at home with low-fat ingredients. Freeze the leftovers and heat them quickly in the microwave for a quick, hearty dish. Method 2: Keeping your sweet tooth sated. 1. Savor sweet potato fries. Another comfort food that is especially easy to crave is French fries. When this craving kicks in, go for baked sweet potato fries instead of classic fried French fries. This will significantly reduce the fat and overall calories of your snack. Slice a sweet potato into sticks or slivers and spread them on a baking sheet coating with coconut oil. Sprinkle a conservative amount of salt and any herbs you favor on top. Bake the fries at 375 degrees Fahrenheit (191 degrees Celsius) for about 20 minutes. Not only are sweet potatoes healthier than French fries, they make for a relatively healthy dessert as well. Use sweet instead of savory herbs, such as nutmeg and cinnamon. 2. Go for pie filling instead of pie. One of the less healthy components of pie is the crust, however, you can indulge in a pie filling like custard if a pie craving hits. For instance, combine pureed pumpkin flesh with 1/2 cup low-fat milk, 4 eggs, 2 teaspoons vanilla extract, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 2 teaspoons vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons pumpkin spice, and 1 teaspoon liquid stevia. Try pumpkin spice or vanilla flavored. Pour into 6 greased ramekins and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 to 50 minutes. If you miss the crust terribly, sprinkle some crushed graham crackers on your serving to add a bit of crunch. To make this and other recipes that call for eggs healthier, replace each whole egg with 2 egg whites. 3. Opt for dark chocolate. Dark chocolate, on its own or in a recipe, can be a great treat. Not only is it delicious, dark chocolate can provide you with healthy antioxidants, and has less fat and sugar. In fact, the darker the better. Go for an option that's made of at least 70% cocoa. If cookies are on your minds, use dark chocolate chips. Further, use some quinoa flour and ground flaxseed, and replace some of the sugar in the recipe with a banana. Method 3. Establishing some comfort food ground rules. 1. Season with spices and herbs. You may find that dishes with less fat, sodium, and sugar don't seem as flavorful. However, you can expand your palate and learn to appreciate the taste of foods more fully by using herbs and spices to bring out flavors. Experiment with different herbs to find some you favor. Spices are also usually healthy, though make sure a mixed spice isn't mostly salt. 2. Cut back on cheese. Cheese is one of the most commonly consumed sources of saturated fat, and is high in sodium and calories as well. When a recipe calls for cheese, use a low-fat version. Look for cheeses with less than 3 grams of fat per serving. If you do use full-fat cheese, use less of it than the recipe calls for. Often, half the cheese called for will usually be sufficient. Sharp cheddar and parmesan are generally decent options. You can also get away with using less of these cheeses more easily, since they are stronger in flavor. When a recipe calls for cream cheese, use fat-free cream cheese blended in a 1:1 ratio with plain Greek yogurt. This is especially preferable for dips. 3. Eat for comfort less often. If you're in the habit of eating comfort food frequently, try to cut back. Plan a comfort dish for the end of the week and look forward to it. To prevent cravings for unhealthy food in the first place, eat high-protein, high-fiber meals that are low in sugar. These are the best types of meals to keep you full. Further, whenever hunger strikes, drink a full glass of water. Often, people mistake thirst for hunger and wind up consuming unnecessary calories. 4. Eat comfort foods as sides. Get in the habit of eating dishes like mac and cheese alongside at least an equal-sized portion of veggies. For instance, carrots, broccoli, and cauliflower are easy to steam, and taste great with cheesy or meaty side dishes. If you prefer, mix veggies directly into whatever less healthy food you've been dreaming about. 5. Eat smaller portions. When you do indulge in a comfort food of questionable nutritional value, get in the habit of eating smaller amounts. One way to do so is by eating mindfully. Sit down to eat, and focus only on your food. In fact, focus on each bite. Consider how each mouthful tastes and feels. Since this practice itself will calm you down, you'll feel content more quickly.